every single time there is a problem in the country, there is no solution that is found by the lawmakers. They instead start blaming each other and refuse to take a response, refuse to take action, and then delegate their problems to the high courts, to the Supreme Courts, to the district courts, to the judiciary of our country. And something similar is again playing out when it comes to the air pollution in our country, air pollution particularly in North India. There have been every single year directives, statements, judgments that are given by the Supreme Court, by the High Court for the governments to take action. There are rap sheets after rap sheets that are then created by the Supreme Court, by our judiciary for the governments to take action. But what happens after that? Well, the people of Delhi, the people of North India have no other alternative but to then reach out to our judiciary. When the governments refuse to listen to us, when the state government and the union government continue to have a slugfest, continue to attack each other, continue to blame each other, talking about who has done a better job in ameliorating the air of Delhi, or for that matter, why are the TARs not working? Why is it that the Haryana government is not collaborating and cooperating with the Delhi government? Why is it that the Uttar Pradesh government is not being asked questions? Why is it that the Punjab government is being blamed for everything or the stubble burning? Ultimately, what does the citizen do? When the government, which is elected by the people of Delhi, they are the representatives of the citizens of Delhi, when they themselves are not taking up the big important burning matter of Delhi, which is air pollution. Listen, we can't breathe. Our health is in jeopardy. Our children are in jeopardy. They are under threat. We have to knock the doors of the Supreme Court, of our judiciary. Advocate Ashwini Dubey on the telecast with me. Advocate, just today there was a statement that was released by the Delhi High Court. It wrapped the Delhi government. But I have continued to see these statements and observations and judgments coming from our judges every year.
Yes, Megha, very, very right. Year after year, especially during winter, the issue of air pollution in Delhi and other parts of national capital region becomes top of the mind, and it is a point of conversation. The worrying levels of pollution have also seen several interventions by courts, including the High Court, Supreme Court, National Green Tribunal. While the impact of the judicial order is still a matter of debate, you see, nobody is bothering about the judicial orders being passed one by one. Very few are aware of the long list of judicial interventions. This, you see, in 1996, it's not this situation has not started from now. Situation has started from 1990. Supreme Court said that banned the operation of brick kilns. 1998, the top court accepted the Burelal committee report, but where is the report has gone, nobody knows. Then in September, to tackle the problems arising of the chaotic traffic conditions, vehicular pollution, court banned all commercial vehicles which were 15 years old and passed directions that they shall not be permitted to ply in the NCT. Then 2001, you see, the Apex Court directed all goods vehicle not terminating in Delhi to be rerouted. Now you see, as of now, last year also Supreme Court said that, look, you have to take out the burning of crops. Happens every year despite many restrictions, and governments are not taking their constitutional duties. They are not adhering to constitutional duties which are required to give a fresh air to the people. Air pollution is responsible for many health problems. You see, the AQI has crossed more than 800. Delhi has become a gas chamber, but despite there is no smoke towers. Most of the countries have already controlled air pollution, but here, moment it comes, sometime government authorities ban the firecrackers, sometime government authorities says it is the Diwali which is responsible for that, but nobody is bothering. See, the National Green Tribunal, chaired by Justice Swatantra Kumar, passed several directions saying that it was the constitutional and statutory duty of all the authorities and ministries to provide clean air. The National Green Tribunal reiterated the ban on all commercial vehicle, diesel, petrol that were over 15 years, but nothing happened. see the burning of plastic, any other material. But ultimately, government has to draw a line. What happens, Megha? You see, last
The
year,
government has to draw the line, Advocate Dubey, but the point is that the government does not do it. That's why I'm saying that every single year there are petitions that are filed in the courts. The matter ultimately comes on the table of the courts, of the Supreme Court, of the district courts, of the Delhi High Court. So the question is the larger one, that why is it when there are governing bodies in place, the representatives of the people are in place, their job is to find solutions to our civic problems, to our national problems, to our domestic problems, to our state problems. Why is the Supreme Court, why is the judiciary dragged into it again and again?
Because see, judiciary can only pass the order, Megha. You would agree that the implementing authority is the executive. Moment order has passed, see, Supreme Court time again said that the people from Rajasthan, people from Delhi, people from the responsible officers from the Punjab, responsible officers from the Haryana, they should sit together along with the officials of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, along with the officials of the Central Pollution Control Board, along with the officials of the other responsibilities. They should work out for a status, they should work out for a comprehensive plan. An action plan has to be implemented. Ultimately, burden lies on the statutory authorities, implementing authorities to implement this. But what happens? Year after year, this is happening, and the governments are not responsible. Ultimately, court have passed order. You see, last year's order, before that, Justice Dattu was the Chief Justice of India. When he says that when my grandson goes to the school and he comes back, we find that he is sneezing like anything. His nose are blocked. And Justice Arun Mishra also asked the state governments as well as they asked that you work out for a comprehensive plan. Even not the Delhi High Court, as you rightly said, Delhi High Court also passed the order. But ultimately, the responsibility on the agencies which are the constitutional machineries, that how to tackle this problem. And they have to make out a plan. Where is the smoke tower you see in Delhi, which was installed? I don't know where it has gone. Uttar Pradesh shift blame on the
Okay, all right. So ultimately, while the state governments and the central government bicker amongst each other, it is then the prerogative, the responsibility, the job of our judiciary to intervene, as it has been doing so for several years now. I have with me Sukumar Padjoshi. He is the senior advocate of the Supreme Court. He is the vice president of the Bar Association of the Supreme Court. Sukumar Padjoshi, good to have you on the telecast again. If I could, refer to this information that is being put out on my screens, like the 2020 CNG verdict, where the court ordered the priority of allocation of CNG. The 2018 old petrol vehicle ban, where 15-year-old petrol and 10-year-old diesel vehicles were banned. In 1999, the seat belt order, which were making seat belts mandatory for front seat occupants, was otherwise it would get bans. 2020 CNG order. So these orders have been given by the Supreme Court, by our judges. They have made quite the impactful difference in the safety, security, well-being of people, the citizens of our country.
Good evening, Megha.
Do you think the courts, the judiciary has been successful in doing the same when it comes to tackling the air pollution problem of Delhi?
Good evening, Megha ji.
Good evening. Yeah.
Yes. In fact, you must appreciate that the courts all the time, they step into this. And one case which is going on for time memorial, MC Mehta, now probably is more than, it's like constitution probably. It's a case only. But every now and then we invoke to that, file some applications before the court, etc. And the court takes up. Now, in fact, well in time, what the judiciary is doing, the executive is doing, and who is the states involved in that for doing the control measures for pollutions is one thing. But the preparedness of the court this time, you see, from the beginning of the October itself, court on its own, in fact, there is an application pending. And lastly, on 31st October, before this alarming situation has come, the court preempting this has already directed state of Punjab, Haryana, UP, Rajasthan and Delhi to file affidavits what they are doing. Because, this suddenly becomes a gas chamber. And Megha ji, you'll see why the court is important and why the court takes it up. pollution, it is a human rights issue. It's a violation of human rights. The basic human right presupposes that you are allowed to live a good, healthy life with dignity. So once this is violated, the court definitely has every right to step in. And most of the time, though at times there is an application, but so moto the court takes it. Because you can't close your eyes to the situation. Also, everybody, once this affidavit is there, you will see that everybody comes and says that we have done our best. The affidavits never say that something is lacking and we need to do this. Nobody gives this suggestion. And also, you are aware, and all of your viewers are aware that we all have a responsibility. It is not alone, not the government, not the court, not every individual has some responsibility. If I'm driving a car, I must drive it with responsibility, because I know that I am living here. My health, my children's health, the society's health is involved. So everybody also, we have to be mindful, and the responsibility has to be shared. Why the court takes up? Because the measures done by individuals, executives, and the authorities are much less than expected to be done. That's why the court intervenes. Court intervenes so that in an orderly manner, court tries to monitor also. Many times, in fact, it is court monitored, a prong to fight the menace of pollution. Today, in fact, it is so much. What to talk of other places, in the Supreme Court building itself. So far as where the judges sit in the podium, there are air purifiers and things like that, so it is little breathable. But in the corridor is open, the courtrooms in which the lawyers sit, that side there is no air purifier. So the life of those so-called, in fact, we all are, I think we belong to a different class there, because many people do not have that facility of entering into a air-conditioned courtroom, where the condition is so bad and it's very difficult to breathe. Today,
all right, fair enough. You've made your points. And before we digress into other problems with regards to the infrastructure of our courts, Advocate Manasvi Thapar on the telecast with me as well. Manasvi, why is it that there are time and again the situations that the governments don't want to deal with? They are too controversial. They don't want to touch upon it because it will not benefit them politically, because it is not in favor of their vote banks, that they end up putting the matter in front of the courts. Case in point, the very, very problematic issue of air pollution, which comes time and again. Every year petitions are filed. Now, understandably so, the core cause of pollution in Delhi is the stubble burning that happens during this period. We are very well aware of this. Now, political parties, whether it is the Congress, whether it is the Aam Aadmi Party, BJP, they don't want to delve into it. They understand that it is a matter of the farmers. It is going to be a sensitive matter. Why waste your time in trying to have this conversation, this particular situation arisen where the farmers then turn against you? And then if they turn against you, it is going to be another problem for you. Whether you are going to be winning the elections or not will be again a big question mark. So let the problem go. It is going to last for 3 weeks. Then then the air will become better, and then people will forget about it, and then they'll again make a hue and cry about it the next year around in October. And then the case comes in front of the Supreme Court. The case comes in front of the judiciary, and that's the cycle that is played out every single year.
Good evening, Megha. I think it's a classic case of how we treat humans in our country. It's a classic case of how do we treat our citizens of our country. What we have understood from the repetitive Delhi air crisis is that we only care about our vote bank politics. What we citizens are for the political parties is we are just a number of votes, that's it. And whenever we try to ban the stubble burning or something, it is related to the vote bank politics of the farmers, or if we try to create or whatever guidance comes from the various courts or tribunals of this country on vehicle emission, on ban on firecrackers, or ban on construction activities in Delhi and NCR areas. everything has been related to vote bank politics. When it suits some political parties, it's good for them. When it does not, it is bad for them. But the reality is, when we talk about the human rights and how much are the citizens of India living in the Delhi region are suffering out of this, is we have no idea what kind of crisis we are trying to create, have been created in Delhi. We would not want to talk, thanks to you and your channel who's trying to talk on this, and you are applauding the work of the various judicial institutions who have actually given a hard stick to the governments. But the governments of our country, be it at the state or at the center or the neighboring states, have failed. There is no federal structure which is functioning for the welfare of the citizens of our nation in the region of Delhi. Punjab blames Delhi in the earlier days. Now Punjab and Delhi are the same political party, so there is no blame game going on. There is no blame game between Haryana and Delhi now. Earlier it was all about this, it is because of Haryana, Punjab or Uttarakhand
No,
or
it is
Uttarakhand.
still there. Today, Gopal Rai said that why is Delhi only being blamed? Why aren't the Haryana government and the Uttar Pradesh government being pulled up? And then he says, where is the Union Minister for Environment? Why is he not talking about it? So it continues.
So the biggest problem, what I see is, as a legal and as a political person, is there is no accountability of people of various political parties who can come together on a table, discuss about, because judiciary is not the implementing authority. It is the legislature and the executive of various states have to come together and discuss this crisis. And the other problem with this crisis is, this is a time-being crisis. This is only there for three weeks or for 4 weeks, and after that it evades naturally. But for that 3 weeks or 4 weeks, the citizens of that particular area have to suffer, and it is going to have an illness which is going to be a prolonged illness, and there is no substitute for that. So the idea has to be, all the collective governments and officials have to come down on a common minimum program to fight against the Delhi air pollution. But we are
But Advocate Tapar, haven't directives been given by the judiciary time and again? They have pulled up all the state governments and the central government in the past. I remember 2022, there were these observations were being made, arguments were being made in the court. There were very stern warnings and directives that were given by the Supreme Court. They were these governments, and the panels were being built of the representatives of the governments. But still, what happened?
See, what happens, that's what I said. This is a time-being issue. This issue is going to burn for the next 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and after that it subsides. And once it subsides, no one is interested, be it the media or the political people or anyone. So we have to, as citizens, as this has to be a prolonged war. We have to fight it as a war footing for a cleaner and a greener air in Delhi. As a national capital, it fails. It's a negative remark on our country that our capital is having the worst air quality in the world. We have to work out together, and Supreme Court or the courts of this nation have done excellent work. They have been giving us all the guidelines and all the orders which are for the citizens of this nation and for the benefits of this nation. But where are we failing is, one, on blaming in each other's government. Secondly, there is no common minimum program or coming together to discuss on the air quality of Delhi.
But don't you think, Advocate Tapar, don't you think the governments are shying away from finding a solution, or at least taking the bull by its horns, which is the stubble burning that happens during this time? And why do you think they are not doing it?
I think that's a later stage, but before that, the first thing which would come to our mind would be coming together to discuss. The governments are even failing to even discuss, come on a table to discuss who is going to be the authority, who is going to take that lead to have a clean air in Delhi. Is it going to be Delhi government? Is it going to be central government? Is it going to be Punjab or Haryana government? No one is taking that lead. No one is taking that initiative because no one cares. The problem here, what comes to our mind is, no one cares about Delhi pollution. It is only which we would, as citizens or people like us, who are actually debating or discussing. But the people who really matter and can do something on ground are the political people and the executives. But do they really care?
Okay.
The idea. No, they don't care.
Is it a question of whether the governments care? Is it a political issue for them? at this point of time, do they also think that, it's just a short-term problem, a 3-week problem, and as the matters resolve, as the weeks pass by, the people will also then forget about it. It's short-term memory, and then we'll go on with our lives. Well, how does it matter if 3 weeks of an entire year are then being faced and engulfed with pollution? Advocate Dubey, again coming to you now. Again, the priorities of the governments. Why is it that pollution is not on the top of their agenda? Is it because it's not a poll issue? And why should it not be a poll issue?
It is because it is related the industries. On the one hand, industries who matters to those political parties for whatever the reason. It is the farmers who are not getting subsidies. You see, Megha, the court have said that moment the ambient air quality crossed 500, then it is a case of environmental emergency. This is an order dictated by the court, and once environmental emergency is recognized, the court says certain measures would be automatically activated. Among others, they include water being sprinkled across the city through helicopters, stone crushers units in worst affected areas being shut, temporary shutting down of power generation plants, brick kilns, hot mix plants, and found to be emitting the excess of the prescribed standards, and also the construction activities. Point 2, in order to prevent and minimize, now there is not the question of common minimum program. We have already crossed a lot. A lot of water has flowed under the bridge. Now the courts have said, passed the orders saying that in order to prevent and minimize burning of agricultural waste, this is one of the reasons the court ordered all states to implement the respective notifications and directions issued by them under the Air Pollution Act, banning the burning of crop residue, paddy straw strictly. The states were also directed to issue orders to companies and production plants, including public sector undertakings involved in the manufacturing of boards and rough paper, to discharge their corporate social responsibility. A lot of money is there. The district mineral fund, a lot of money is there. And by collecting the crop residue from the field of farmers, by providing them with money as a consideration for lifting the agricultural residue, the court have entertained the feasibility of scrapping the annual Airtel Delhi Half Marathon. If you remember that time, the court dismissed the idea at that point of time that this government, all the governments will contribute together. Court said that whosoever is emitting the pollution should be held accountable. And therefore, in order to curb air pollution, when the courts have passed the orders, it is the responsibility, the constitutionally, the morally, the ethically. I respectfully disagree with the point of my respected senior Padjoshi sir. Equal responsibility, but how much pollution I emit, how much pollution Padjoshi sir emit, how much pollution Manashri emit. The entire pollution is because of the many other factors.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Let's quickly get a quick word in from Sukumar Padjoshi also. Now, is the Delhiite or people living in Haryana or in Uttar Pradesh or in Punjab, then should they then be given compensation for breathing poor air?
Belief of that. In fact, this is one of the principles. Polluter pays a principle of the international conventions on environmental issues, and India is a signatory to that. And in fact, in many cases like the TAS, and there are at least 5 cases in which the Supreme Court has implemented that. And if somebody is suffering for that, then he has to be compensated. This is not only a human rights issue, this is also a health hazard where one is losing maybe that span of life also, and health quality, his life quality. So therefore, he needs to be paid on that. And this is, I fully support that stand. And this is a principle internationally recognized, that the polluter has to pay and the person suffering has to be compensated for that.
Okay. Quickly then, Advocate Thapar, your view with regards to that. Should the courts now come out and put out this directive, put out this judgment that compensate each and every resident of Delhi?
I think it's a very difficult judgment for the court to come out with such kind of a judgment. I don't think that's possible, humanly possible for
Why
the
not?
states.
When you're taking taxes from each and every citizen of Delhi, why not input this, that you put a tax rebate saying that since you breathe You breathe bad air for a period of 3 weeks, therefore you are being compensated for it.
See, on a hypothetical understanding, it sounds good, but I don't think on a subjective, on an economic front, it is actually feasible. I don't think that is actually feasible for, and it sounds good. It sounds like it can be done, but as we three advocates are here, we know the possibility of this kind of outcome is not very much possible. Only thing what can actually happen out of, if we learn from 2023 and 3 weeks of air pollution in Delhi, is that we should come together, discuss on this, and make sure in the month of November 2024 we don't face it. Only that is possible. I don't think apart from that anything else is possible. For us, judiciary has done an excellent work. Only thing is, whatever has been done till now by the directives of judiciary, be it the Supreme Court or the Green Tribunal, we should actually implement it in toto. If that is implemented in toto, I don't think there would be any kind of air pollution in Delhi.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.